Shalom, family, shalom. Mr. Hebrew Life again. I'm Bay Jerusalem, and I'm back with another lesson. Man, I just came back, seeing the movie Us. You know, I wanted to do a little review, Brewview, and give a real conscious review over the movie. Based off of everything I've seen, man. The movie was kind of weird. It was okay though. The movie it was based off a lot of different theories. What's up, TJ, man? Thanks for the subscribing, man. The movie was based off of you could base it off of a lot of different things when you look at it. It could be based off of cloning. That's one way you could look at the movie. That's one of the main things that stick out with the movie. It could go into all of the black children, mainly the black women, black females being kidnapped around the world and around the United States. It has something to do with kidnapping and abduction of children, and you can see the movie Us going in that way. One of the main things was we are always our own worst enemies. That's something I seen from the movie. We are our own worst enemies, and we have to kill that bad version of ourselves. We have to be reborn again, and that's one of the main key points to the movie. Also, the movie start off with them being on vacation or whatever, and it's something funny about the main character is the mother, and she wandered off from her parents at a carnival when she was a little girl, and something strange happened to her, supposedly that she was never the same. Now, throughout the movie, she shows signs of being weird and different than everybody else. And if you, I'm gonna have to watch the movie a few more times to truly give a true analysis on what I was saying. Basically what I was saying, what the movie was saying, the other sides of themselves was getting the worstest of life while they was getting the best of life, And while she claimed while she was up there eating the best of the best, she was down there eating rabbits and, having the worstest of the worst. While she was up on the surface having good children, the tether was on the other side having bad children, And when I look at this movie, from a large scale, like when I was done watching it, I had a feeling that the clones had been switched out or whatever. I guess the clone had switched the real one with the clone or whatever. And that's why she was different. That's why our parents couldn't figure out what was wrong with her and what had went wrong with her was because the clone had, basically switched her out. And she had been living her whole life amongst the clones, and the clone had been living its whole life amongst the human beings. And, it got something to do with genetic manipulation too, In the movie, everybody was real nonchalant about conspiracy theories. I remember it was a scene where the girl said, do you know they put fluoride in the water, and nobody act really surprised, And I guess everybody was nonchalant to anything being different or changing in the world for the worse. It was a verse that they kept flashing during the movie. It was I believe it was Jeremiah 11:11, and it was basically saying, the most high, he's not gonna have any mercy. He's not gonna be slack when we're returning the anger and the fury upon the world. And that was basically, I believe they was putting that verse because they wasn't gonna have any mercy on the world. Basically, what the movie was about, it was about the clones supposedly rising up against regular humanity. The girl who was taken and lived her life as a clone, she started the revolution of the clones. You know what I'm saying? So if it wasn't for her being switched out with the clone, the clones would have never knew that, that there was another world above them and that there was people living a life and there was them living a whole nother life. And she made a revolution for the clones to basically kill the real versions of themselves and they could live their lives. And it was, I guess it was started by the switch. It was all started by the switch, but it was really started by the government. Nobody even knowing that they was doing these type of things. You could try to connect it to Get Out. It's the same director as from Get Out, so you know, only thing I could see it connecting in is instead of switching brains and that type of thing, they didn't manifest it all the way to the point where they could switch souls and they could duplicate souls. But there's a difference between the real version and the clone or whatever, because the clone doesn't have a real soul. Yeah, man, it's a decent movie. It's a little weird. But if you could put it together, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? I feel like um, the message was, you know, anytime you trying to hide something secret, it's gonna come out in the dark. Anytime you know what I'm saying, if you making clones underground, you know what I'm saying, some can get out, some can find out. When a clone, basically what the movie is, when a clone find out it's a clone, it's not, you know what I'm saying, it has two choices. It can either wipe out the original version of himself, or it can try to live his life on the outskirts and stay away from the original version of itself. When the movie, I'm still trying to collect my thoughts on it. It's really, basically what I was saying was the girl she switched out the original girl at the beginning, and she basically, the whole movie you was looking at the clone or whatever. And she kind of set her husband up so he'll never really know that she was the clone, you know what I'm saying? The clone thing, I think that got something to do with, the fallen angels and, genetic manipulation. This is one of the reasons the Most High had to take the earth and flood it with water, because you had a whole bunch of creations that wasn't real. You had dinosaurs, which was not real, it's made from genetic manipulation. Clones come from genetic manipulation. We know the first animal that they cloned was Dolly, and that's a sheep. We know Jesus or Yeshua walked with the sheep, so it ain't a small thing that the first animal that they cloned is a sheep. So the movie wasn't all about clones. It was about you or your worst enemy. It's about fighting that bad version of yourself. And you said clones been around forever, huh? Hey, man, I don't really want to make this video about clones. This is if anybody got any questions about the movie, send them my way. This really just a quick review over the movie based on what I had seen. She was telling her husband at the beginning of the movie she always felt like someone was following her. And, and it was weird, like right after she told him that it was some people in the driveway, waiting on them or whatever. So I think the movie was a horror, because it was sinister how she played like she didn't know she was the clone the whole movie. You know what I'm saying? So she knew that the real version was coming to take what was hers the whole movie. I really felt like, the real version let the clone kill her so she could fulfill, you know what I'm saying, prophecy on that side. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be no reason for the real version to kill the clone. And knowing all of the clones all around the world was released in these red jumpsuits. You know what I'm saying? They would have just killed that. I knew something was up when they didn't kill. The white family, they killed them immediately. You know what I'm saying? They came straight in, they just wiped them out. They ain't waste no time. But it seemed like with the black family, you know what I'm saying, she had a special vendetta out. You know what I'm saying? I was mad, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the movie, she didn't just come out and say, you stole my spot, nigga, let me get my spot back. You know what I'm saying? But she played, I figured she was, you know what I'm saying, she said she was Americans. I felt like that was real funny, when the clones said they was Americans, because Americans is clones in a way. They all clones and carbon copies of the system, and whatever they tell them is right and wrong. People are robots, so you gotta find your real self. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, if you following man-made doctrines and man-made beliefs, then you a clone to the system. You know, the movie Us, the movie Us, that might mean the U.S. It was really making it a situation where it was like a worldwide. It was a country. They weren't showing like worldwide. They were just showing in America that it was a problem. So I really think the Us title stands for the U.S. and it could stand for us, like all of us as a body of people. You know what I'm saying? This is us. We're clones. Until we truly find our real self, we're all clones to this system and to these beliefs. I don't know. I don't know what else really to say about the movie. I really felt like, she was playing the Messiah on the other side of the clones, because the clones, everybody didn't know anything until she had arrived there. If it wasn't for her arriving there not being a clone, they would have never realized that they was clones and they needed to revolt against the system underground. You know what I'm saying? So by her being switched out, with the clones, she used her talent to wake up the clones, and and cause a revolution and take off the mask on what was going on underground with them, making clones and experimenting, and making carbon copies of people. So you know what I'm saying? It's the movie. I feel like in some ways it wasn't put together. There's some things that just don't add up. When you sit back and you sit with the movie, the more you see it was, it wasn't really well put together, but the plot was good. The plot and the switcheroo at the end, and that was cool. But I feel like it was a lot of stuff was done in the movie, and it don't really add up to telling the point of the movie. You had a lot of survival going on and not a lot of explaining more about this cloning thing, what was going on, and they didn't. I feel like they should have went more into how she was living down there, and how things was really going down there to shape who she was. Because we know how the clones lived a regular life like a human being, but it wasn't a human being. And I think another big thing in the movie was that she was able to fake like she was a human being the whole movie, showing that a clone can learn to be like a regular human being, with learning. So, almost to the point where you don't know who's the real thing. Shalom, serving a Yah. Shalom. So the movie was, what can I say? It wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. I think the commercials is more exciting. There was some parts, that was funny. It was real. It had a lot of humor to it. It wasn't your typical horror flick. It had humor to it. The black people in the movie was doing a lot of white people stuff. Doing a lot of stuff that didn't make any sense. So if I had to give it, I'd probably give it 3 out of 5. I think Get Out was way better. If you want to compare the two movies, the sequel, they say it's a sequel. The sequel ain't never better than the first part. So I don't know. Have to get it on DVD or something, bootleg or something, and check it out. But from what I was saying, she played the Messiah of the clones. At the end, they had the helicopters flying and stuff, and they had the clones all over the world. So they basically showed on the news, all over the news, that the clones was going out killing the real version of themselves. And, I don't know. I really don't know where the movie headed to. I just feel like it was a good plot. I feel like Jordan Peele was riding that wave, He had Get Out. Why not hit him with the Us, and see where it's gonna go? And it could be a start to a lot of different things. I, you know, I feel like Get Out was well put together, and this was probably something he was writing and he just hurried up and finished because, and sent it on through. Um, it can be a two-part series. It could be, they could do a part one and part two to it. How they ended off as if it was going to be a part one or part two. I don't know if people going to come out and see Us too, you know what I'm saying, as much as they went and seen that, because the hype was big. He was just coming off of Get Out. I feel like everybody was kind of let down with this one. It wasn't as exciting, and it was sinister, but you don't know where the sinister is going. It's like, okay, if she is the clone and she's still acting like this is her family, what are you saying? So you saying basically the only person in her family real is her husband. The kids, that mean they all are half clone. That would explain why they were slow in the movie. You know what I'm saying? The little boy act slow. Now that explains. She act like she was slow. You know. I didn't really understand what made it a horror movie. It was more like a mind twister, like the movie Clue or something like that. They threw the twist in at the end. Up to that point, you really don't know what makes the killer tick. So you don't know what really makes the clone go. But then when you find out at the end, okay, that this girl took her spot, and you know what I'm saying, she basically made her live down there. You know what I'm saying? And I remember her saying in the movie, you could have brought me with you. And the girl could have. She could have, you know what I'm saying? Either the girl who was the clone, she could have brought her down to the cloning facility, and it would have totally turned everybody's mind crazy to see two versions of the same person. Or she could have brought, the regular girl could have brought the clone to the real service, and it would have messed everybody's mind up on the top surface because they would have seen it was two versions. But there's always a way to cover up things. They would say they were twins, but the parents would have knew, well, damn, I don't have two of the same daughters. So it would have been a phenomenon either way it went, but she had to be underground. She had to be a savior to the clones by dancing and doing things and saying things that they had never heard of, because she wasn't a clone. She was an original version who had got switched out with the clones. So she was able to reframe the mind of the clones to make them think like the originals, which caused a revolt against the government, against the world, and it's a lot of people. It probably is a lot of people who clones. Never know. Probably is a lot of people walking around, like I said, who got a clone mind. People eat fake food. A lot of people were clones, you know what I'm saying? Not like clones like out of a lab, but just through the food they eat and through the things they believe. But overall the movie was cool. I give it 3 out of 5. I can't really say it was better than Get Out. I wouldn't have seen Get Out. It was better. Get Out was better. How the commercial was boosted up, hey, I've been ready to see this. I'm like, dang. I'm like, this is going to be hot. And it wasn't. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I'm not going to bash the movie, but could have been better. The plot could have been better. Could have went more in depth and details on the killer and on what make them tick and what make them, really want to be after the human beings. You didn't really get the motive of the killer. You ain't get why they was out for blood. It was if they all at the blood based off of this one woman. And I kind of understand that, that she was faking like she was the real version the whole time, and she knew it was coming. You know what I'm saying? But I think it was one of them things where you try to sweep some dirt under a rug, and it end up manifesting into something bigger. See, the clone knew when she switched the rule, it was gonna cause something to happen down there, but she didn't never figure it was gonna cause a total revolt. She knew the girl was gonna come back for her eventually, but she didn't think everybody was gonna come back. Everybody down there, it was gonna cause a revolt for the whole facility down there, and And at the end, you know, with the little boy looking at his mother, the little boy know that his mother ain't his mother. You know, she was making animal noises and clear red flags that she wasn't a human being throughout the movie. You know, so I don't know. I don't know what the movie gonna end like. I guess it's the end. You know, this family is half clone, half human. The only person who's real is the daddy. You know, so I don't know what the sequel's gonna be about. I don't know if it's gonna be about him finding out she a clone, or I don't really know where they could go from this. You know, decent movie though. Decent movie. But you know, we gonna get out of there. We probably come back and do another lesson. This the Hebrew life. I'm Bay Shalom, family. Shalom.